Thank you all so very much for coming and helping in a celebration. The journey began the better part of a year ago, and it's we're not quite where we want to be yet, but we can see where we want to be from here, and that's what today is about. Guiding this trip has been truly the relentless work of our friend Leslie Kilgannon with the Quad Cities Interfaith, who has kept the momentum moving forward when many others were prepared to throw up their hands and walk away. So please join me in welcoming Leslie to come and lead this announcement for us.
Good morning. Oh, you can do better than that. Good morning. My name's Leslie Kilgannon. I'm the director of Quad Cities Interfaith, and I welcome you to really an amazing announcement, a unique partnership of faith, healthcare, mental health providers, corrections, and the legal community to address the pressing need for a diversion option for some individuals sentenced or charged with a crime when what they really may need is mental health treatment. Genesis Foundation Transitions Mental Health Services, Quad Cities Interfaith, the 7th Judicial Court District, and the Scott County Attorney, along with this task force you see behind me, have worked to enact a demonstration project for a mental health court for 1 year. This is a result, as I said, of 1 year's worth of organizing, but also relationship building. This wouldn't have happened unless we organized around our common desire to see a change in our community. And I'd like to personally thank every member of the task force and organizations that helped make this happen and brought us to this day. In particular, Judge Dalton and Judge Smith and the Scott County Attorney Mike Walton, who said yes to our vision, even though we weren't always where we wanted to be. They walked with us on this journey. So I'm honored to be here, so let's start. I'd like to welcome now the Quad Cities Interfaith President, Reverend Clark Olson-Smith.
Good morning. I'm the Reverend Clark Olson-Smith. I'm the pastor of St. Paul Lutheran Church in Clinton, Iowa. I'm also the president of Quad Cities Interfaith. Quad Cities Interfaith empowers ordinary people to transform their community. We've been doing this for 30 years. Our members include 25 congregations and community organizations. We come from diverse faith backgrounds, but we are united by common faith values to make a real difference in the Quad Cities. We believe that all people are created in the image of God. We believe redemption is always possible. We believe that justice and restoring justice requires nurture and not punishment. That's what today is all about. This mental health court demonstration project in Scott County is all about these faith values. Prison and punishment are not the answer. And for me, this is personal. 14 years ago, my dad attempted suicide. And before that, he, in his depression, acted out in a whole bunch of unpredictable ways. Today, my dad is alive and well. He had the support of his family, his church. He also had access to treatment, to a doctor who could prescribe him medication. He had health insurance, and he could afford to get well. Not everybody can, and that's not right. Some people have no access to mental illness treatment until after they've been arrested. Our jails and our prisons are among the largest providers of mental health services. There, but for the grace of God, go I, or my dad, or your daughter, or a neighbor or coworker, or the most joyful member of your congregation. But thankfully today is a new day in Scott County. Now, by the grace of God and through the effort of Quad Cities Interfaith and the whole coalition that's here today, Today, there's hope. Because with intensive treatment and accountability, there is a chance for redemption. There's a chance for healing, a chance for people with mental illness to become well and to turn their lives around. And that's good news for all of us. So I'm proud to be part of Quad Cities Interfaith. It's an organization like none other in the Quad Cities. I'm honored to stand here with all of these devoted partners. I'm especially grateful to the Genesis Foundation for their generous investment in this project. I'm also grateful to the Riverboat Development Authority, to the Doris and Victor Day Foundation. They funded Quad Cities Interfaith to explore a restorative justice project in Scott County. All of these investments have paid off. Now the work is not done yet. This mental health court in Scott County, it's not permanent. There's still a chance for you to make an investment too. Thank you, and God bless.
Missy Gowie, Executive Director of Genesis Philanthropy.
Good afternoon. I'm so pleased to be here, and I want you to know that I represent a board of directors for Genesis Philanthropy. We are an organization that believes in infusing the power of philanthropy to solve some of our society's most challenging issues. Obviously, we're looking at one of those issues today. We have made a $50,000 grant to establish mental health court for Scott County. We believe it's a very wise investment. We believe it will serve the needs of patients and families who have had a long-term struggle with mental illness. Our board gave overwhelming support when this grant proposal came to us, because we understand that people with mental illness need to be treated perhaps for the long term, and that they need to be treated in the right setting. We also believe that our investment is an investment in the community. We believe that once we dissolve the stigma around mental illness, we're also serving the greater community. We believe that these services need to increase, and we're pleased to be at the forefront with our $50,000 contribution. Thank you very much.
None of this would have been possible without the strident support of both Judges Christine Dalton and Mark Smith. Mark Smith will, in fact, be the presiding judge over mental health court proceedings, and we'd ask him to say a word or two to us now.
Good morning. This is very good news. We've been working with our community partners for the past, I think it was 18 months, Leslie, not just a year, to secure funding and to provide adequate supervision and support for the mentally ill, nonviolent offenders, so they will not re-enter the court system. The Scott County Mental Health Court will direct mentally ill, nonviolent offenders to treatment through court orders, frequent court contact, and specialized supervision and services. Considering the current Iowa Judicial Branch budget situation, we are fortunate to continue with this court. And it's only because of the intervention of some Supreme Court justices that knew that we were working on this program for as long as we did, that they agreed to allow us to have this court, as well as opposed to other courts that have not had the type of work and community support that we've had. This type of specialty court is important, even in difficult times, because we know that a successful diversion can result in cost savings to our community, law enforcement, and correction facilities, as well as improve the functionality of those who are successfully diverted from the criminal justice system. I'd also like to thank Quad Cities Interfaith. I was on the task force that originally investigated this in 2009, along with Judge Dalton and several other members of the mental health community. We did everything except get funding. That was in the midst of the recession, and we were not able to obtain government grants. and therefore it folded. And we didn't have the grassroots community support that we have today. And that's why I'd also like to thank Genesis Foundation for funding this program and providing seed money to start it. I want to make clear that the governmental agencies such as the Scott County Attorney's Office, Public Defender's Office, and Department of Corrections, as well as the court system, will not obtain any of that funding. That's going to be used for the intensive supervision that's required for these participants, and that's going to be through the transition mental health systems. And they were an integral part of starting this program. And their experience over in Rock Island Mental Health Court was invaluable in creating this type of court system in Scott County. So it's with pleasure that I today want to congratulate all the community support we've had and look forward to serving the community with a better system than we've had. Thank you.
Again, while this has been the product of a shared value and regard for compassion and justice, it's been a difficult journey, but throughout the process we received ongoing encouragement and support from the Scott County Attorney's Office. Mr. Walton, would you care to say a word or two?
Thank you, Ken. I also want to thank Quad Cities Interfaith and the Genesis Foundation. That grant, it really has made this possible. We are going forward without any funding from the state. All these agencies, my office, the County Attorney's Office, the Public Defender's Office, the judicial system, correctional services are all going forward with this with no additional resources. We've been supporters of this since 2008 when we first looked into it. I only hope that funding can continue and we can make this permanent. But I want to thank all these individuals for their hard work in making this go forward. Thank you.
If there are any general questions, this would be a good time to ask them. Otherwise, I'm sure that any of these folks would be happy to do one-on-one interviews.
Can you just tell us how generally it's going to work?
Who would be the best to describe that? Courtney. Yeah. Transitions Mental Health Services will, in fact, be guiding this process forward. They, in fact, already provide this service in Rock Island County, so we're very blessed to have them with and all their extensive experience. Perhaps you could just give a general explanation, Courtney, of how a person comes into the program and how they negotiate their way through it.
And what's your title and last name, too, please?
Sure. Hello, my name is Courtney Stenzel. I'm Director of Residential Services at Transitions Mental Health. And ultimately, the concept of mental health court is an individual commits a crime in the community. They then come into the criminal justice system, and if anybody, referrals can come from anywhere. So if anybody identifies that this individual could be struggling with mental health symptoms, they can be referred to the program. So a referral gets made to the care coordinator or to employees that we have within the jail, and a screening gets done on that individual to determine if they are appropriate or not for the mental health court program. If the individual meets the criteria, and there is a lot of criteria, we really need to make sure that we're getting the right candidates for this program, then they are either accepted into the program or they're referred back through the normal court system. Once they're accepted into the program, it's kind of like their just services are wrapped around them. They're either already connected to mental health treatment, or if they're not, that's our job, is to make sure that they get connected, that they have medication, that they have housing, that they have all of the needs that they have to be successful. They're supervised very thoroughly. They appear in court. The minimum length of the program is a year, so they have to appear in court on a regular basis, checking in with the judge, checking in with probation, checking in with care coordinators, case management. And then ideally, as they work through this program, they'll become much more stable, able to take care of themselves independently. And then by the end of the program, the ideal is the charges that they came in on, they go away and they're able to continue their life, continue to make progress, go to school, get jobs, and be an active part of our community, which is what we're hoping for.
And are they staying in your residential facilities?
Not necessarily, but some individuals who need that type of treatment or services can be referred to residential programs on the Iowa or Illinois side.
And then what are some of the ways that a person in the program can succeed? What are those benchmarks that they have to meet?
There's a lot of criteria, and the current mental health court team is finalizing all of that. There's going to be, I think, Judge Dalton, is it 5 phases? 5 different phases that the client will have to work their way through. Each phase is a little less intensive, and each phase ranges from anywhere from at least 90 days within each phase. So they'll have to make sure that they're taking their medication, they're making their appointments, they're going to counseling, they're going to therapy, that they're volunteering, that they're working on getting employment.